Captain Alex Mercer landed on the alien world with a soft thud as his boots sank slightly into the mossy ground. The planet's atmosphere was thin but breathable, tinged with an earthy scent that reminded him faintly of a forest after rain back on Earth. Towering trees stretched skyward, their trunks glowing faintly with bioluminescence, casting a soft, iridescent light over the forest floor. Alex adjusted his visor, scanning the area with his sensors. Nothing in the readings indicated life, yet the faint hum in the air suggested something moved in the distance. Alex's mission was simple: investigate a signal detected on the edge of human-mapped space. But even simple missions had a way of becoming complicated when alien worlds were involved. He crouched slightly and moved forward, his boots making barely a sound on the soft, spongy ground. The forest seemed alive, but not hostile. Birds with transparent wings flitted silently between the trees. Odd, jelly-like plants shifted when he approached, revealing more forest floor underneath. He had just taken another cautious step when a movement caught his eye. From the shadows, he glimpsed them, small figures, humanoid but unlike anything he had ever seen. Their skin shimmered with a faint blue hue, and their eyes were larger than a human's, reflecting curiosity rather than fear. They were girls by appearance, though far smaller and thinner than any human adolescent he had seen. Their movements were cautious, deliberate, almost like children learning to walk in a new world. Alex froze, raising a hand slowly. "I come in peace," he said, testing the universal translator. The soft voice of the device repeated the words in tones unfamiliar to him, hoping it would be understood. The girls tilted their heads, staring at him, not speaking. They made soft, melodious sounds, which the translator struggled to catch. One of them stepped forward. She reached out tentatively, her fingers brushing against the edge of his uniform. Alex realized she had never seen clothing or a human before. Her small hands grasped at his jacket and the straps of his gear, tugging gently as if trying to understand what he was. He had to suppress a chuckle. It was harmless curiosity, nothing more. Carefully, he crouched to their level, keeping his movements slow and deliberate. "It's okay," he said softly, raising his palms to show he carried no weapon. "I won't hurt you." The girls blinked and hesitated. Then, as if sharing an unspoken agreement, they all reached out at once. Their tiny hands tugged at his sleeves, the straps across his chest, the pouches and belts he carried. Alex could feel the gentle but insistent pull as they explored. He held still, realizing that any sudden movement might frighten them. "Not exactly the welcome I expected," he muttered to himself, though he kept his voice quiet. "Curious little things." He activated a small holographic projector on his wrist, hoping to communicate visually. A soft blue light emerged, forming the shape of a human. The girls froze, staring at the figure. Then, almost immediately, they began touching it, mimicking what they had just done with Alex himself. The hologram wavered as their small fingers brushed against the light, and Alex noticed a subtle smile appear on their leader's face. A girl with slightly longer hair that shimmered like silver under the forest light. Alex realized that he had become, unintentionally, a living demonstration of human anatomy and clothing. It was not dangerous, only confusing for them. He relaxed, allowing them to explore while keeping his own body safe. As the sun, or what seemed like a sun, began to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Alex decided to take another approach. He reached into his pack and took out a small data tablet. On it were images of other human beings, human settlements, machines, and simple objects like tools and vehicles. He held it out, and the girls' attention shifted immediately. Their eyes widened as they studied the tablet. One of the girls, the leader, reached out to touch it, her fingers tracing the images. She made a soft sound, like a question. Alex pointed to himself on the tablet and then to himself in reality, trying to indicate that the images and he were the same species. Slowly, comprehension dawned. The girls stepped back, whispering among themselves in their strange, melodic language. Then, one by one, they mimicked his gestures, pointing at the images and then at him, as if to say, "Ah, so this is what you are." It was a breakthrough, small but significant. Alex smiled under his helmet. "Good," he said quietly. "We understand each other a little." But before he could continue, the bushes rustled again. Alex tensed. He reached for his sidearm, but the girls reacted first. They scattered, moving quickly, weaving between the trees with astonishing speed and grace. Alex froze, watching as more shapes emerged, not girls this time, but small, quadrupedal creatures with sharp eyes and claws. Predators. The girls were inexperienced in defense, and Alex knew it. He quickly dropped to a low stance, scanning the area. One of the predators leapt toward a girl who had frozen in fear. Alex reacted instinctively, swinging a net from his equipment to catch the creature mid-leap. The net entangled it, giving him time to usher the girls to a safer location behind a cluster of glowing trees. "Stay behind me," he shouted, his voice firm but calm. "Don't panic." The girls obeyed, huddling together while Alex used his training to protect them. He moved quickly, tossing small flash grenades to disorient the predators without causing harm. His knowledge of human tactics gave him an edge, even in this alien environment. The predators yelped in confusion, retreating into the undergrowth. When the danger passed, Alex breathed a sigh of relief. The girls came out from behind the trees, their expressions a mixture of awe and fear. They had never seen anyone react with such speed and precision. Alex realized that this moment was more than survival. It was a demonstration of human ingenuity and courage. He lowered his hands, letting them see he had no weapons raised. "See, humans can protect too," he said softly. The girls stared at him wide-eyed. Their curiosity had not been replaced by fear. Instead, it had grown into respect. Over the next few hours, Alex began learning more about them. They lived in a small clearing filled with structures that resembled organic towers, grown rather than built. Each tower pulsed with faint light, and he could see openings where the girls entered and exited. They communicated with soft songs and gestures, and though he could not understand the words, he could feel the meaning. He decided to try teaching them a few basic signs, pointing to objects and mimicking actions. The girls were quick learners, mimicking him almost immediately. When he pointed to himself and said, "Alex," they repeated the sound awkwardly but with enthusiasm. Alex smiled, feeling a sense of connection forming. Night fell and the forest came alive in a different way. The glowing flora lit the surroundings like lanterns, casting long shadows. Alex made a small campfire in the clearing, careful to keep it controlled. The girls watched in fascination, stepping closer but keeping a safe distance. The way humans used fire seemed magical to them, and they mimicked the movements with sticks, trying to create sparks with their own hands. Alex realized he had become part of their world in a short time, not as a conqueror or invader, but as a teacher, protector, and bridge between two very different species. And though the initial curiosity had led to the chaotic tugging at his uniform, he now saw it as a symbol of trust forming. As he lay back and looked at the alien night sky, Alex thought about the journey ahead. This planet was full of wonders, dangers, and mysteries. But if humans could survive here, not with brute force but with intelligence and understanding, then maybe, just maybe, humanity's reputation as a clever and resilient species would reach far beyond the stars. And as the soft songs of the alien girls lulled him to a rare moment of rest, Alex knew that tomorrow would bring more lessons, more discoveries, and more opportunities to prove that humans, even one lone soldier, could face the unknown and emerge not only alive but respected. Next morning, the alien world greeted Captain Alex Mercer with a mist that clung to the glowing plants and tall, shimmering trees. The forest seemed quieter than the night before, as if it were holding its breath. The girls were already awake, their small forms moving cautiously around the clearing. They glanced at Alex, then at each other, whispering in their musical language. Although he did not understand their words, he sensed excitement and curiosity in their tone. Alex rose from the small sleeping area he had created, stretching his arms. The gentle warmth of the glowing plants bathed the clearing in soft light. Today, he decided, he would explore the surrounding forest while keeping the girls close. He needed to understand the environment more fully for both their safety and the mission. The leader of the girls, the one with shimmering silver hair, approached first. She reached out, gesturing for him to follow. Alex smiled faintly. "All right, I'm following you," he said, careful to keep his voice calm. She turned and darted between the trees, moving like a dancer, and Alex followed, careful not to step too heavily. The other girls trailed behind, occasionally peeking at Alex as if to check that he was safe. As they moved deeper into the forest, Alex began to notice strange patterns in the ground. The soil was soft, almost spongy, with channels that seemed intentionally formed. He bent down, running a gloved hand across the grooves. "Artificial," he muttered. Perhaps the planet had been inhabited by another species before these girls. The structures they lived in were grown organically, but the grooves in the ground suggested planning and intelligence. The girls noticed his curiosity and began pointing to the grooves, touching them gently. The leader made a sound, something between a trill and a hum, and tapped Alex on the shoulder. She then led him to a small hill covered in glowing vines. At the top, he could see the forest stretched endlessly in every direction. The glow from the plants reflected in a nearby stream, creating a mirror of light and color that dazzled the human soldier. Before he could take it all in, a sharp cry cut through the air. One of the girls had spotted movement in the distance, more predators. Unlike last night, they were approaching in packs. Alex immediately crouched, signaling the girls to do the same. He could feel his pulse quicken. Survival instincts kicked in. The predators emerged from the trees, their sleek bodies low to the ground. Their eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the forest's bioluminescence. Alex estimated 5 of them, each bigger and faster than the creatures from the night before. They were intelligent hunters, working together with terrifying efficiency. "Stay calm," Alex whispered to the girls, even though they could not understand the words. He placed himself between them and the approaching predators, ready to react. The girls huddled together, instinctively understanding that Alex was their protector. The predators leapt forward and Alex acted. He grabbed a few compact flash grenades from his pack, tossing them in quick succession. They exploded in bright, blinding flashes, causing the creatures to recoil. But they were not deterred for long. Alex knew he had to do more. He looked around and spotted a cluster of vines hanging low from a tree. Using a small grappling hook, he swung the vines across the path of the predators, tangling one mid-leap. The others hesitated, giving him just enough time to grab a sturdy branch and wedge it between 2 trees, creating a barrier. The girls watched in amazement. They had never seen a being react with such precision and speed. Alex moved with controlled energy, his mind calculating every step. The predators, frustrated by the sudden obstacles, circled but did not attack directly. It was a standoff. Alex then used a series of hand signals he had been teaching the girls. He pointed to the stream, then back to the predators, then mimicked running. Slowly, the girls understood. They began to mimic him, moving quickly toward the water and using the natural terrain to their advantage. Alex followed, keeping the predators distracted with small, quick movements that drew their attention. When they finally reached a safer distance, Alex allowed himself a brief breath. The girls were breathing rapidly, their faces a mixture of fear and awe. Alex crouched beside them, placing a reassuring hand on the leader's shoulder. They responded by mimicking the gesture, resting their small hands over his. In that moment, Alex understood that a bond was forming, trust forged in danger. After the encounter, Alex suggested they return to the clearing. On the way back, he noticed that the girls were paying attention to everything he did. How he moved, how he held objects, even how he breathed under stress. They were learning, absorbing knowledge with an intensity he had rarely seen. Humans had a reputation for resilience, but this was different. He was becoming a teacher in real time. Back at the clearing, Alex decided it was time to teach the girls something practical. He pulled out a small multi-tool from his pack and demonstrated how it worked. He showed them how to fold and cut materials, how to sharpen small sticks, and even how to create simple traps for the predators, not to harm them, but to warn of their presence. The girls watched intently, touching the tools carefully, asking questions with their melodic language. Alex smiled. "Good. You're fast learners," he said softly, though he knew they could not fully understand. Still, he could see the comprehension in their eyes. As evening approached, the forest began to glow in new patterns. Alex realized that the planet's bioluminescence was not random. It shifted with the movement of creatures and perhaps even time. He pointed this out to the girls, demonstrating how he could predict where certain paths would be safe to walk. They copied him eagerly, weaving through the glowing undergrowth with growing confidence. Night fell again, and the forest became alive in a symphony of light and sound. Alex built a small perimeter around the clearing using lightweight sensors and the traps he had shown the girls how to set. They watched, fascinated as he worked, occasionally trying to mimic his movements. The leader girl touched his arm lightly, as if to ask permission to participate, and Alex nodded. Carefully, she helped him place one of the sensors, her small hands precise and careful. After the work was done, Alex gathered the girls together. He had brought small rations from his pack, protein bars and water. They ate quietly, learning from him as he ate, copying his method of unwrapping and sharing food. He felt a sense of pride. Humanity's ingenuity was not just in combat or survival. It was in teaching, sharing, and adapting. The girls were absorbing every lesson, and Alex knew that by morning, they would have remembered and perhaps improved upon what he had shown them. Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the ground. Alex froze, sensing danger. The girls tensed as well, their bodies rigid with fear. From the distance, massive shapes emerged, not predators, but towering alien creatures that seemed part of the forest itself. Their bodies were covered in bark-like armor, and they moved with surprising speed. Alex estimated their height at 3 times his own. The girls scattered instinctively, but Alex acted immediately. He shouted instructions, pointing to safe spots among the glowing trees. He realized these were not mindless creatures. They had patterns and intelligence. He needed a strategy. Using what he had observed, he led the girls to a series of narrow passages in the forest, forcing the creatures to follow a path where their size would slow them down. Using his knowledge of physics and improvisation, Alex toppled a fallen tree across the path, creating a barrier. He then used the glowing plants to disorient the creatures, flashing light at intervals to confuse them. The creatures hesitated, giving the girls enough time to reach safety. Alex stayed behind, guiding the creatures with careful movements until they eventually retreated back into the depths of the forest. When the danger passed, Alex joined the girls, panting and exhausted but unharmed. They gathered around him, their small hands touching his arms and chest, mimicking the gestures he had used to calm them. He realized that the trust between them had deepened even further. They had seen not just his strength, but his intelligence, his ability to adapt, and his care for their safety. Alex spent the rest of the night helping the girls reinforce their structures and teaching them ways to detect predators early. The forest's glow reflected in their eyes, and he could see that they were beginning to understand the human way, cautious but clever, strong but compassionate. Before sleep, Alex looked up at the alien sky, stars unfamiliar but beautiful. He knew this was only the beginning. The planet held secrets, dangers, and wonders beyond imagination. But with the bond he was forming with the girls, he felt a spark of hope. Humanity had once again proven that its ingenuity, courage, and empathy could bridge worlds, even with beings who had never seen a human before. As he drifted into sleep, surrounded by the soft humming of the alien girls, Alex felt a rare sense of belonging. He was not just a soldier exploring a strange planet. He was a teacher, a protector, and perhaps a friend. And tomorrow, the lessons would continue in the forest, among the glowing trees, where humans and aliens were beginning to understand one another. Morning broke on the alien world with a gentle glow, the bioluminescent flora bathing the forest in soft colors. Captain Alex Mercer awoke with a sense of anticipation. Today would not only be about survival or teaching simple skills. Today would mark the moment the girls truly began to understand humans. He stretched, checking his gear, and saw the girls already waiting. Their silver-haired leader stepped forward, holding a small bundle of leaves and flowers, offering it in a gesture Alex understood as a gift. He accepted it with a nod and a soft smile, careful to convey respect. After a quick breakfast of rations, Alex led the girls deeper into the forest. He wanted to show them a hidden area he had spotted the previous day, a valley partially enclosed by cliffs, with ancient alien structures embedded in the stone. The girls' eyes widened as they followed, stepping carefully but eagerly. Every movement they made reflected curiosity and growing confidence. When they arrived, Alex paused. The valley was breathtaking. Moss-covered towers jutted from the rock, their surfaces etched with symbols he did not recognize. Pools of water reflected the soft light, and the air carried a hum that resonated in the chest. The girls ran ahead, touching the structures, tracing the symbols with small fingers, their melodic sounds rising like a song. Alex knelt beside them, pointing to the structures, trying to communicate that these were old machines. He demonstrated simple movements, pressing one etched panel, twisting another, and to his surprise, the structures responded. A faint light glowed from the panels, and a soft hum filled the valley. The girls gasped, stepping back, then forward again, their excitement barely contained. Alex gestured for them to try. The leader touched a panel and pressed it lightly. The structure responded, opening a small compartment filled with unknown tools and devices. Alex smiled. They were quick learners, understanding cause and effect almost immediately. As the day progressed, Alex taught them more. He showed them how to combine certain materials to create small energy sources, how to detect movement with simple sensors, and how to use logic to solve problems. The girls mimicked every action, sometimes adding their own twists. Alex watched in awe as they improved upon his methods. Humanity's adaptability and intelligence were being mirrored in real time, and he felt a surge of pride. Suddenly, the ground trembled. Alex froze, instincts kicking in. The creatures from before were approaching again, but this time, more of them and larger. He quickly assessed the terrain, realizing that the valley's narrow passages could be used to their advantage. He motioned to the girls, signaling them to follow closely. The girls obeyed without hesitation, running beside him through the narrow gaps. Alex used quick thinking and improvised barriers from fallen rocks and branches, slowing the creatures' advance. Then he had an idea. Using the ancient structures, he activated a series of panels that emitted bright pulses of light. The creatures hesitated, confused by the sudden interference. Alex seized the opportunity. He directed the girls to create a chain of barriers, guiding the creatures toward a canyon where they would be trapped temporarily. The girls worked together, moving quickly, their small hands precise and coordinated. Alex realized that teaching them problem-solving had paid off. They were using logic and teamwork to survive. When the danger passed, Alex gathered the girls and praised them. They responded with a chorus of melodic sounds, as if celebrating their success. Alex smiled beneath his helmet. Humanity's reputation was not just in combat or technology, it was in leadership, teaching, and the ability to adapt and survive together. As the sun, or the planet's version of it, began to set, Alex and the girls returned to the clearing. He decided it was time for a final lesson, cooperation to unlock the full potential of the ancient technology. The girls had learned quickly, but they still needed guidance to understand complex sequences. Alex demonstrated step by step how to combine gestures, symbols, and actions to activate a larger device. The girls watched intently, their eyes wide with concentration. When it was their turn, they worked together, mimicking Alex's movements and refining them. Slowly, the device came to life. A series of lights and sounds filled the clearing, projecting a holographic map of the planet. Pathways, structures, and energy sources became visible, revealing secrets long hidden. The girls reacted with awe, touching the projections carefully, pointing and tracing the lines. Alex realized that they were beginning to see humans not as mysterious beings, but as partners and allies. Their trust in him had grown into admiration. Humanity's creativity, courage, and intelligence had earned their respect. That night, Alex sat with the girls under the glowing forest canopy. He pointed to the stars, tracing constellations and making comparisons to human maps. The girls listened, leaning in closer, their small hands occasionally brushing against his arm. He told them stories of Earth, of human ingenuity, of challenges overcome through clever thinking. Though they could not understand every word, they grasped the essence. Humans faced danger, adapted, and persisted. Alex felt a sense of accomplishment he rarely experienced in his military career. He had come to the planet as a soldier, expecting to explore and report. Instead, he had become a bridge between species, showing the alien girls the potential of intelligence, adaptability, and cooperation. Days passed, and the bond deepened. The girls began teaching Alex about their world, showing him the energy flows, the hidden paths, and the delicate balance of life. He realized that they had knowledge he could never have imagined, and together, their combined understanding allowed them to create solutions to challenges neither species could solve alone. One afternoon, while exploring a nearby ridge, they encountered a massive chasm. A natural bridge of stone and roots spanned the gap, but it was unstable. Alex assessed the risk. "We can make this work," he said, thinking quickly. Using materials from his pack and the alien tools, he reinforced the bridge, demonstrating to the girls how to use leverage and balance to strengthen it. The girls copied his methods, adding their own improvements. Together, they created a passage safe enough for all of them to cross. It was a small victory, but significant. The girls now understood that humans did not rely solely on strength. They relied on thought, strategy, and teamwork. Alex felt pride in this realization. Humanity's strength was not just physical but mental and social, capable of overcoming even the strangest challenges. As the days turned into weeks, Alex prepared a message to send back to Earth. The alien girls were curious about his actions. Asking questions and mimicking gestures, he used to operate the communication device. He carefully typed the report, describing the planet, the creatures, the technology, and most importantly, the intelligence and adaptability of the human species. The girls gathered around as he transmitted the message. When the signal was sent, Alex looked at them and said, "You've learned a lot, but we've learned too. Together, we can face anything." The girls responded with a chorus of melodic sounds, their way of expressing agreement and joy. In the final days, Alex realized something profound. Humanity's value was not in domination or conquest, but in understanding, teaching, and bridging differences. The alien girls had never seen a human before, yet they now trusted him completely. They had learned courage, problem-solving, and cooperation, lessons taught not with force, but with patience, intelligence, and care. On the last night before his departure, Alex and the girls gathered in the clearing. They had created a small garden of bioluminescent plants, arranged to form a pattern that reflected their learning and cooperation. Alex knelt beside them, touching the glowing leaves gently. The girls mimicked the gesture, resting their hands over his in silent acknowledgement. Looking up at the stars, Alex thought of Earth and the message he had sent. Humanity had once again proven itself, not through weapons or power, but through creativity, courage, and empathy. On a world where no one had ever seen a human before, he had shown that intelligence, adaptability, and the ability to teach and cooperate could overcome fear, danger, and misunderstanding. As the alien girls settled down, their eyes glowing softly in the night, Alex allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. He had come to this world as a soldier, ready to face the unknown. Instead, he had become a teacher, a protector, and a friend. The girls had grown because of him, and he had grown because of them. Humanity had not only survived, it had thrived. And as he drifted into sleep beneath the alien sky, Alex knew that this was the true essence of being human: the courage to explore, the wisdom to teach, and the empathy to build trust across worlds. This planet would forever remember the day humans arrived, not as conquerors, but as allies, problem solvers, and friends. Tomorrow, Alex would leave for Earth, carrying stories, data, and memories. But the bond formed with the alien girls and the lessons shared would endure. He had proven that even in the farthest reaches of the galaxy, humanity could shine clever, brave, and full of heart.